Hi, welcome everyone to depression-youarenotalone.com with Shannon.
To the left is Shannon.
Here to my left. Behind the camera is John, and my name is Lou. Today's episode, we're going to discuss something that is very difficult for me to discuss. I actually tweeted yesterday that we were going to do this today, so I would do it, because I've talked about this for a long, long time. In this situation, I've only told 3 people in my life. 2 of them are right here. That's Shannon and John. The third person is my ex-wife, who I was married to, of course. She would be the third person. I've never had this conversation with anyone, but what I do is I always try to think of, is it beneficial to other people to talk about what I'm going to talk about? Because if it's not, then it's not worth it, of course. All right?
Yeah, of course.
I just want to sit here
Natural.
talking about very intimate, personal things in my life when they're not beneficial to other people, then it's not worth it. But I believe this is. So for those of you that have watched our videos, you know that I have survived 2 suicide attempts many years ago. And I want to make something clear. I didn't try to do what I did for attention. I actually was strategic and I should have succeeded. For some reason, something always happened where I didn't succeed. That's why I've always said I shouldn't
Be here.
be here. But I'm still here.
Yes. Thank goodness.
There was something that changed everything. And I don't think I'll get emotional about this today because I was emotional about it yesterday and I'm pretty drained. There was a time after those 2 attempts, and I kept telling myself this. I used to tell myself this almost on a daily basis. And that was that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And of course, what I meant by that is I want to end it. I don't want to live anymore. I had no joy in my life. And this is me with 3 children. 3 children. So you could understand the power of depression. That even having a family and home, mother, father, brother, cousins, children, didn't matter. Put on a scale, none of that mattered to me. I know it may seem selfish, but you have to understand too, it's an illness. So, you're not thinking the way rationally as you would. So I remember one day I was home alone. John knows in my house at Oak Ridge. Remember?
Yeah.
That house. My kids were off at school. My wife was off at work. I was by myself. Wow, I thought I wouldn't. So,
Take a breather.
I apologize. So I came to a decision of ending it. I know I tried 2 previous times, but I decided that this time it's going to work. This is where it gets a little strange. John will back me up on this.
Gets a lot strange.
John will back me up on this. Our mother had this intuition.
Yeah, out of the blue. Yeah.
She had these, I don't know, gifts, powers
She can see things.
that we're not even going to attempt to figure out. It just is what it is. She always
A 6th sense.
always shocked us. So when I came to this decision, I remember the feeling of almost euphoria, feeling of relief. I was so relaxed in knowing that this is going to end. I'm not going to suffer with this anymore. This is the crazy part. So the phone rings, not right that minute, but within 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And I remember I remember those red couches that I had that were
Yeah.
really beautiful, but terrible to sit
Comfortable,
on.
yeah.
In the living room. So I was sitting there just so relaxed, feeling so good. The phone rings. It was our mom, my mom, crying. "Don't do this to me," she said. She was crying. "Don't do this to me. You can't do this to me. You have a family, this, you know." And I was so shocked
Yeah.
because I talked to my mom every day. Why, you know, how did she, again, I'm not going to try to figure out how she knew or whatever.
Sensed it.
There's no way to figure it out.
Sensed
Just
it.
the way she was.
Yeah, there's
And I'm not going
at
to,
all.
and I'm not going to try.
It's what it
because
was.
We're not going
what
to
it
succeed.
was.
Yeah.
We're not going to come to a conclusion.
No.
And I told her, why? What are you talking about? You know, everything's okay, which wasn't.
And she knew it.
She knew it wasn't okay. She knew it was not okay. That's why she called me crying. As if she knew I had made that decision. This is the hardest part for me, is I was angry with her for a long time. Never told her, never discussed any of that with her. That she took that away from me. That I had an out. And I was angry with my mother for taking that from me. I mean, truly angry. Back then I was suffering so much with depression, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, again, I'm going to repeat it. I didn't want to do it. With 3 small children counting on me, it wasn't enough to stop me. With parents, like I said, a brother and other family and friends, wasn't enough for me to say, what am I thinking here? You know? I wanted out. I couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take it anymore. When she said that, the reason I was angry with her is because I knew I can't do it. I can't put her through that. Because I wasn't thinking of her. I wasn't thinking of you. I wasn't thinking of my kids. I wasn't thinking of my friends. I was just thinking, I want out. I don't want to do this anymore. That's all I was thinking about.
Well,
it was consuming me.
That's what happens when people get to that stage.
That's why we need to take mental illness seriously.
It's not a phase.
I had beautiful family, beautiful home. Anybody would say, are you kidding me? There are people that are homeless that will not do what, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've mentioned this before, there are celebrities that are wealthy, adored by millions, that have taken their lives.
Robin Williams, for one.
So many.
Yeah, a ton.
Oh, God,
And we're
that's so
shocked, when we hear about it, we're shocked as to, but you have everything. It doesn't work that way. When you're suffering and you're thinking of just to get out so you don't suffer anymore. Because nothing matters anymore. Nothing has any value anymore. You don't even value yourself.
Well, I think that's the key there.
So, like I said, when she said that to me, crying, don't do this to me, don't do this to me, I knew I couldn't do it. That's why I was angry with her. She took that from me. She took away my out. So that's 3 times, and something always happened to prevent it. I know some people say, well, somebody's looking out for you or whatever. I don't know. I'm not getting into that either. So the reason I bring this up Is it means something to me to talk about it, but not beneficial to anyone else? We've always, not just me, the three of us have always said, if you know someone battling depression, don't stand on the sidelines. Don't act like there's nothing wrong. Intervene. My mom's intervention, again, I don't know how, is what saved my life. And I went from being angry with her and almost resenting her for that, for taking that from me. But what did she do? She allowed me to see my little girls grow up to be beautiful, intelligent women, to experience a lot of great things I experienced since then. Not gonna lie, and a lot of crappy times too, but that's life. A lot of crappy times in life for everyone. Rich, poor, don't care, it's just life. But I had a lot of great experiences because she basically saved my life. I got to spend years with my parents, and John, my kids, my friends. I was successful in a lot of things. I failed in a lot of things. Also life. I got to at least experience those things. When my dad got ill, wasn't much either one of us.
There was nothing we could do about it.
There was nothing we could do. But we were there for our mom. We were there for her.
We were there when he died.
And we were there for her ever since. When she wasn't alone after our dad died. She had us.
No, she was never alone.
Never alone. And when my mom became ill, her mom became ill, us two adult men took care of her. We fed her, we bathed her, we wiped her, we cleaned her. She was in a rehab facility. We brought her home so she can live out what time she had left in her own home. And we took care of her. Even when we had hospice. I remember her calling me. She wanted me to do things once she could speak and communicate. And we did it. And I did it. I say I did it because I would not have been there if it weren't for her. And John and I have been together all the time. We do this together. We do other things together.
You do all kinds of things together.
None of that would have happened had my mom not intervened and saved my life. But my biggest thing, my biggest guilt, I didn't have gratitude towards her. I had a level of animosity towards her. And I'm saying that so people, friends or family of someone battling severe depression may listen to me and say, wow, that's crazy. It's not unique to me. That's why I'm doing this. It's not just me, it's many people.
Well, depression's got that common thread where everybody suffers. Although they're different, they basically suffer the same way.
Specific to that individual.
Exactly.
Everybody's different.
I've had severe clinical depression. You know, unlike situational depression, which we've discussed in other episodes, if you lose a family member or someone, you're depressed over a situation that happened. I have severe clinical depression for many, many years. I still go through it today. I'm 58 years old. Of course, I've talked in other episodes what I do. You know, this is a reason too. We do these episodes outside because we've talked about in so many episodes for someone battling depression, even if it's situational depression, whatever it may be, to get out of your home, to get out of your room, go outside if you can, interact with other people. Don't allow depression to isolate you. That's another reason we do these things outside. Weather also permits. If it didn't, obviously we'd have to be inside, but it's not that we say, you know, suggest doing this or doing that, we also do it. I do it. I do those things. So the reason I wanted to do this wasn't just to sit here and talk about myself and just tell a story about me, is for people to think about that. I was fortunate that my mom, with her intuition, powers, whatever you want to call it, stepped in and saved my life. Of course, later in time, that anger and resentment I had, which I said, like I said, I've never mentioned anything to her, never showed that anger towards her, went to gratitude. And it turned my life around. It made me realize I have to do whatever I have to do to be here. So when we talk about intervening, look at what happened with me. When we talk about people commit suicide, and the closest people in their lives sometimes will say, wow, I never knew things were this bad.
And that happens more often than not.
That happens all the time. And I was fortunate that I had someone that knew it was bad. And over the phone, she solved the problem.
You know what I think is important? If I may, this is a lady that, just so you can kind of describe what your mom was like for others to know. She's a woman that would sit out front. Didn't she sit out front of her bench, and all birds would kind of flock
Yeah,
to her?
they'd be on top of her.
Yeah,
and-
they're-
Like
She-
tons of
she
birds
wild
would come
birds.
to her.
She fed a bunch of doves.
They would just flock
Yeah,
to her.
yeah.
They'd sit on the bench with her.
Sit on a bench with her. It was just somebody that was endearing, that was just attracted kind spirits.
Children everywhere would call her grandma.
Yeah,
everyone,
everywhere, yeah.
everyone in their neighborhood would come over to her house. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. She was just
She had something about her that didn't
exuded.
didn't just magnetize people to her, but animals too.
Yeah.
Yeah, all species.
Oh yeah, she loved animals.
So I just wanted to put
Well,
that
when
clip in there.
I got her
because
the
it's
dog,
important. What?
when I got her Wimpy,
Yeah, Wimpy the dog.
Wimpy rescued him from the dog catcher, which was great because the dog catcher basically goes, "You want to take the dog so I don't have to take him in?" Yeah, whatever. Her old man had died, a month ago, so I figured, yeah, she can use the dog, some company. So I take the dog home, and she's all bent out of shape. 5 minutes later,
They're best friends.
The dog's on her
Animals
lap.
can
all the
help
animal-
with
I
depression.
had to give her one of my dogs because I had 2 American Eskimos,
Yeah, they didn't get along. Yeah.
and they would just fight. They could not be together. They had to be separated.
Yeah.
Animals are amazing.
And I
with
lived across the
depression.
street from my mom. So
yeah, that's
I
right.
gave my mom the American Eskimo,
Yeah.
which she didn't want.
Snow White.
Yeah.
Snow.
Yeah.
Didn't want her. And then, of course, within minutes,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were best buddies
Yeah,
until
exactly.
the poor dog, she passed away.
Yeah.
But she had this connection with animals and with people and children, and for her, again,
Love.
when I made this decision alone in my own home, kids in school, wife working, and by myself, feeling of relief that I'm gonna get over and done with this. I'm gonna end this. And she calls me within minutes, crying, "Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me."
It's like throwing a cold bucket of water, ice
Never.
water on you.
Never tried to figure it out because there were so many things that she did, and whenever I couldn't figure it out, and it is what it is.
Oh no, there was no way to figure it out.
It is what it is, but she saved my life.
And thank God.
And I was able to be there for her and especially
Oh, yeah,
at the end of her life. And I'm grateful that I didn't put her through that I didn't put my whole family through that, my friends through that, because it wouldn't just affect me, it would affect everyone.
Had to
Would
be
have
a
affected
story.
everyone in my world.
That's what a lot of people don't realize. It affects a lot
Because
of
you're
people.
not thinking.
No.
You're not
No.
thinking. You're not being rational. You're just thinking of ending it. You don't want it. You don't want that pain anymore, that hurt anymore, that confusion, all of it. You don't want it anymore. And when it lingers, like for me, it's long time. I mean, people understand being depressed, even people that don't have clinical depression. They understand if they lose a family member that passes away, how they feel. But over time, it gets less hard. That's different. And people that don't understand clinical depression, that, if you lose a family member, you're not looking necessarily, in most cases, to end your life. You're just very sad and hurt with the loss. But when you have clinical depression like I do, where you're not looking at other people, or you're just thinking that you don't want to do this anymore. That's it. I just don't want to do this anymore. I want it over with. Because then there's no pleasure in anything anymore. You start to question, what is the purpose of this, of being here? I would ask myself, I would sit there thinking I was thinking rationally. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose to be here? I don't enjoy anything. I hate my life.
Well, that's
I hate
definitely a sign of
everything.
depression, yeah.
Not I hate people, but I hate just being alive.
your
I don't
life.
want to do this anymore.
Well, thank God you got interrupted by
And-
your mother.
And when you tell yourself these things, sometimes it makes sense to just end it. It actually makes sense to just get it over with. And the pain is gone. So I'm telling the story to show what happens when someone intervenes.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling the story. If there was no benefit to others, then it's my story. I don't need to tell it. I don't need to tell the soul. So, folks, if you want to leave a comment, any experiences you've had as well, you can leave a comment on YouTube, and please,
Thanks for joining
or even
us.
on our Twitter page. And thanks so much for listening. Really appreciate it. And
If you like this, hit the subscribe button on the bell icon.
Yep.
if you would hit this, we'd appreciate the support. We're trying to do good here. But thanks so
Thank you.
much, and take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
And be well.